Hi folks, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick, we're on the ZX Spectrum 128K and we're playing a game called Coloris, published by a Woman team in 1990. Not an outfit I've ever heard of, but it's based on the arcade game Coloris from Sega in '89, which we have reviewed on the PlayStation 3 on the Sega Mega Drive Hits Pack or whatever it was called. It's a Tetris variant with some nice music. Well, nice music at the start anyway. 3 levels of difficulty, we'll put it on easy because it's me we're talking about here. But shapes will go down the screen and we eliminate rows by matching 3 colours in a row. It will soon become apparent now. You can rotate it round, oh, it doesn't move very well. You can rotate it round by hitting the fire button. Let's get there, it moves like a pig, this game. Okay, right. So, you've got to get used to this movement. We get that blue down the bottom. There we go, I should have 3 in a row. There we go, so that should vanish and we got points. There we go, great. So it's not the most exciting game in the world for sure. Maybe I should have put it on a much more difficult option. Now I should have rotated that. Boo boo from Nick. Excellent. Now already I think I'm going to struggle to make this game seem interesting. Why have I reviewed it? Well, it's a puzzle game. We review stuff pretty much at random. And there are better Tetris type options out there. 3 greens in a row, kaboom. So yes, I should have put it on 5. Now this game did come out on the Commodore Amiga as well. I've got that queued up to review, but if it's as dull as this, we might leave it for a while because there's only a certain amount of Coloris you can actually cope with in one sitting. Yes, I'm not a fan of this already. It's too dull. It performs columns well, but the movement is too flickery from my point of view, and it's a little bit quiet as well. If you had this one back in the day, then of course let me know, but we will see games like this as we try and review everything ever. If you've got any games you want me to review, then put them below. Make sure I haven't done it already. I do add them to the list. The list is, as I've said before, bigger than the games I've already reviewed. And I think we're coming up almost, we might have actually gone past it, 500 ZX Spectrum games reviewed. So have a look in the reviewed Spectrum games playlist. And yes, you will see them all there. Right, 3 in a row, boom. Yeah, this is boring. Would I play this a lot of the time back in the day? Well, I might have played it once or twice, but I don't think I would have come back to it ever again because there's much better games available. Don't get me wrong, it's a puzzle game and what it's aiming to do, it does sort of okay. It's just there's very little excitement to be had. Back in the year 1990, so you have to admit the Commodore Amiga, the 16-bit systems, Atari ST as well, were starting to get going at this point. If you had a friend that had one of those machines, or diagonals don't count. If you had a friend that had one of those machines, then of course why would you be playing this? They'd come round your house and probably laugh in your face. But it's all about 8-bit stuff. The best bit of this game I would say is the music at the start and the end. So I might let it run at the end so you can see the best bit of the game. But you've pretty much seen everything so far that you're going to see. I don't know any cheats for this game. Why would you put one in? Yeah, I don't think there is any, to be honest. You can pause the game if you get called down for dinner by your mum or have to go out somewhere. But yes, the score is 320. As you can see, you can go up to 999,999 for a very exciting weekend if you want to do that. If you have done that without your Spectrum blowing up, then let me know. But the 128K didn't seem to blow up as much as the 48K. I think didn't really have a fan, but I think the holes of ventilation were maybe a bit better. Right, 3 in a row, boom. Now, if you want to see a good sort of like shapes game, then have a look at Clax on the ZX Spectrum. It's pretty much like this, but in 3D, and you have a bat to actually catch things on. This one is far too basic. It's 2D, and I do prefer Tetris to this. We might review Columns properly on the Mega Drive at some stage. It is a little more fancy than this, but that's what you would expect. Yeah, you will hit these games every now and again, as I say. Some are great, some are mediocre, some are okay, but a little bit boring. And this, would have to say, is a little bit boring. Why did I pick it? Well, it's just the way it goes. Oh, I thought we'd get a second row there. Right, rotate this round. 3 magenta ones. Oh, he's messed up again. Well, already, I want to find a way of messing up so I can get out of this game. The rest of your day, probably, after watching this gameplay, will seem ultra super exciting. If you were born in the 1800s and teleported into the future and saw this, you'd think, yeah, I think I'll wait a few hundred years more before actually getting involved in this thing. Right, what am I doing? Right, I need red to do. Right, if I rotate that round, be 3 reds in a row. It'll pause slightly as we... Oh, he's messed up again. Right, 3 greens. Good. Part of your 5 a day. Will I get 4 for that? Will it... Oh, it deleted all 4. That's good. So it's a minimum of 3. But if you get more, then well done to you. Right, that's going to get a blue 3 and a magenta 3. Slight pause. Right, so if the screen fills up, you probably knew that already. If the screen fills up and there's nowhere else to put your shapes, it's game over. For my liking, they should have made the space a lot smaller, because look, we've got lots and lots of room to play with, and at this speed, it'll probably be going on for ever and ever and ever. Not sure it won too many awards. The name is Coloris. Great. No 2-player option that I'm aware of, or was there? I don't know. Not side by side anyway. Colours are okay, the red in the score, the yellow high score, and the green the pause, but it might seem a little bit like we're pausing already. Nick, much longer is this review going to go on for? Well, I don't know. There'll be another game reviewed a bit later on today. If you're watching this as it goes live, I'm at work, probably having more fun than I am playing this game. Yeah, the game later on, which we'll put up, will be hopefully a little bit more exciting than this. I'm not going to give too much away, but it might feature a helicopter. Hooray! This game doesn't feature anything like that. It just features oddly coloured squares. 4 in a row, 1010 points. Cool, this is awesome, isn't it? Yeah, if you did have this game and didn't play it very much, let me know why. Did you have any other better games than this? I find it hard to believe. Well, I find it easy to believe, actually. That was a big stinking fib. Nick, how are you going to keep talking for much longer in this game? I do not know. What do you want to talk about? So do have a look at Columns on the Sega Mega Drive. I haven't reviewed that yet, but as I say, I did do it on the PlayStation 3. It takes this general idea, but the shapes are bigger, they're more colourful. Can't take that away from the Spectrum, of course, because the Mega Drive had a little bit more oomph. Well, replaced a little bit more for a huge amount. And this came out just 1 year after that one, or the arcade game. So, you know, what can you say? Now I better shut up, because I don't know if humming the Tetris sound with YouTube the way it is will get me a copyright strike. Certainly if I release it in the charts, me going dee 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 dee, I think that'll get laughed out of court. 3 more magentas, great. Please comment if you're still here, because you must be a big fan of the channel. I want to say a big hello to you. Hello, good stuff. Retro gaming, you certainly can't beat it. At time of recording, the Atari VCS is in development. Well, I say that development. If you check out their website, the Indiegogo page, people are starting to get a bit dismayed with the progress. Things might be still okay, but it's following the pattern of, well, the Spectrum Vega, where they're deleting comments where people are asking important questions, not really giving any reasonable updates. So at best you could say it's a terrible managed campaign with terrible communication, but hopefully they're still working on it. But I am doubtful. They're not giving you anything to expect nothing but the worst. Yeah, well, anyway, we'll wait to see what happens on this one. But anyway, that's a little bit more exciting than watching shapes go down the screen Coloris, but it might not be a game you can ever play on the Atari VCS if it never comes out. These Indiegogo campaigns or Kickstarters tend to follow a pattern, a bit like the Spectrum Vega and a few other ones as well, where it promises lots and lots and lots. You take a bit of a risk if you back it. Communication breaks down, no reasonable updates, comments start getting deleted, and then others that follow that similar pattern, you actually fear the worst. Anyway, if you are watching this in the future and actually holding an Atari VCS and it's all that you wanted and it's not just a basic emulation box, then comment below. Well done to you. It was a risk worth doing. I wouldn't have had the nerves to actually keep up with that thing. But well done for you for sticking with it. Or are you actually going for the courts now to try and get your money back? Let us know how that actually happened. I think I'm going to have to deliberately kill myself, not in real life, in this actual game in a moment, because it could go on forever and ever and ever. And yeah, we've all got to do stuff, haven't we? We've got to eat food, we've got to go out, we've got to pay our bills, we've got to mow the garden. If you started watching this video at right at the start, you might want to check your garden because it might be heavily overgrown by now. I'm sure it must have been going on for at least the last 10 years, or at least that's what it seems like anyway. I keep playing this expecting it to go quicker or something else to happen, or it throwing an extra colour into the mix, but it's never going to happen, is it? Never ever gonna happen. If I had this on an app on my phone and kept playing it, I'd certainly miss my bus stop. So what can we say about this one? Playability is lethargic, silent in games, premise is pretty boring, done like this. There's not much. What they should have done is broke it up into stages to get a certain amount of points, then it gave you interludes each side, maybe with a bit of story. That might have helped. Because it's a constant wedge drag, it's a bit like doing a day of work without any breaks or lunchtime, and 4 hours in you do start to get well, I say a little bit bored, that's being kind to it. I'm well bored. Movement is terrible, but from screenshots it might have looked a little bit prettier than this. Curses, blast curses, right. Let's just fill up the screen, I think, now. I think we've had enough of this Fang. And then we can show you some music to listen to, and we'll try and end on a high. So, yes, good tactics. Look how much left I had of the screen. Loads and loads of time. Oh, it's game over. Okay, thank you. Well, hope you liked having a look at that one. Thanks for bearing with it. At least you know what it's like now. That was Coloris on the ZX Spectrum 128K, published by Womo Team in 1990, based on the arcade game Columns by Sega in 1989. Got any comments about this game, similar games, or anything retro, then please put that below. Till next time, take great care of yourself, and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.